All right. Thank you everyone for that. And sorry about the technical difficulties. This is our first Twitter Spaces AMA, as you can probably tell. But today we have Matt, our co-founder, joining us. And the format will be that we'll just start with some introductions. So if you're new to Origin, Matt will just introduce himself and tell you a little bit about his background, and then we'll share some high-level updates about the NFT marketplace and Dshop and OUSD. And then from there, we'll go into the questions that everyone submitted on our subreddit. So to kick things off, hi Matt, and did you want to just introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your background?
Yeah, hey everyone. Pleasure to speak with all of you today. Like Max was saying, this is our first Twitter Spaces AMA, but we're excited to engage with the community, and we'll be going over a lot of topics today. As you guys probably know, I'm one of the co-founders of Origin. We've been in the game since 2017, working on ways to bring commerce to the blockchain. And we're super excited about the recent work that we've been doing in DeFi and NFTs and commerce in general. A little bit about my background. I was one of the early product managers at YouTube way back when, before YouTube became this massive media empire of sorts. From there, spent a number of years at Google after we were acquired, worked at a couple other startups as the VP of product, and then have been an entrepreneur since 2013. I first got into crypto to a small extent in 2012, but it was really during the Ethereum crowd sale in 2014 that I got much more into it. And the rest is kind of history. Been a big believer ever since. Yep, and just want to say again, thanks for attending our first Twitter Spaces AMA, and looking forward to engaging with everyone in the next hour or so.
Cool, thanks for that. So to get into it, I guess NFTs is the main thing that everyone knows we're focusing on at the moment. And when we did the Justin Blau drop, the NFT marketplace was, I think, the main product that people were looking forward to. And then more recently, we started to talk about the self-serve platform. Are you able to just give us an update on both of those and sort of how they're coming along, as well as why Origin decided to also build out the self-serve platform?
Yeah, so what we really want to see is the evolution of NFTs from their early stages today into something much, much more massive in the next couple of years. And the way I would attempt to characterize this is that NFTs are this brand new technology. And even though there's been this, the first wave with crypto kitties, and now I would say a second wave where a lot of people were doing NFT drops this year, it's still pretty early and it's still a bit of a blank canvas. And so I think we're going to see many, many different NFT use cases evolve over the next few years. And so what we're building today is just the start. And so, Max, you did mention that we did a number of these high profile celebrity or influencer or kind of like very special NFT drops, Blau being the largest one we did, but we also did the Charlie Bit My Finger drop. And so those were all experiences where we essentially were the gatekeepers, right? We decided who we could handle at the time and which NFT deals that we were working on. But over time, we want to get out of the way as much as we can. And so today we've built a set of creator tools, currently still invite only, but the idea is they will quickly become open to creators of all shapes and sizes, not just famous celebrities that you may have heard about. And when we do that, we can unlock not only the early adopters, but we can also unlock the long tail of NFT creators. And so it's very similar to Shopify in the sense that we think that there's going to be many, many different creators that are producing a lot of great work. Not all of it will be successful, but the best work will rise to the top, and the best NFTs will rise to the top and can create a very, very powerful, sustainable business. And so this invite-only creator platform is being iterated on every single day. We have our top engineers on it. We have new creators in the pipeline that are starting to use it and providing some great feedback on how we're going to improve it. But again, the eventual goal is that in the near future, we can open this up to hopefully hundreds or thousands of creators. And the difference between what we're doing and what, let's say, like Nifty Gateway are doing is that because we're allowing NFT sales to happen on creators' own websites, just like Shopify allows merchants to sell on their own websites, at scale, we could theoretically have thousands of NFT sales happening a day on the Origin platform versus just a couple maximum on, let's say, like a Nifty Gateway. And then the other piece that Max mentioned is the secondary marketplace. As we know, a lot of people are into NFTs because there's a strong secondary market and resale. And so that launch is actually being tested as we speak. So this week we're doing a lot of testing. And then starting next week, we'll start rolling out individual marketplaces for each of the creators that drop on Origin. And as we start getting more traction with that, we will also have an aggregator marketplace that draws from all the different NFTs all across the Origin network. But again, it's a very different model than some of the other competitors in the space that kind of start with one marketplace where everyone's NFTs are all showing on the same site. We think that one of the big differentiators is allowing creators to have their own home. So their own home to have primary sales, but then also secondary sales on the marketplace, as well as a set of engagement and creator tools that we're building. And so it's a very full integrated experience for all these people.
Awesome. Thank you. It's a very good update. We have more NFT questions, but they'll come at the end. These are the ones that you guys asked us on Reddit. Next, before we get into that though, I just wanted to touch on Dshop actually. There's a lot of overlap obviously between NFTs and e-commerce, and so people have been wondering about what our plans are for Dshop in the future.
Yeah, so whereas NFTs are a much more specific vertical within our commerce platform that has specific advantages because it's crypto-centric and all of us are crypto native. Dshop is a platform that's more targeted at generalized commerce. So many different use cases, different types of goods, products, and services. And we're proud of the work that we've done there, building up the Dshop platform that essentially is like a Shopify, except built on decentralized tech. And so we are quite excited to take Dshop to the next phase. And that phase is where we have much more community involvement. And so there's a couple of components here I want to touch on. The first of which is that we are going to be rolling out OGN governance features for the Dshop side of the business. And as part of that, we are also going to start having our very first early developer grants for Dshop for open source developers that can actually contribute to the code base and bring out a better future for our decentralized e-commerce play. Since the beginning, Dshop has always been 100% open source. And so we're very excited about now drawing from the community of engineers and supporters, people that can help test features to really then make this a decentralized movement to unlock these different use cases. And so in the next week or two, you're going to actually see snapshot voting go up to allow for governance of the continued development of Dshop. And it'll be our first foray into true decentralized governance. And I think it'll also lay a lot of the early roadmap as we think about governance features for OUSD and also the NFT platform down the line.
Awesome. And speaking of governance, this is a good segue into OUSD, or our Origin dollar. A lot of people have been wanting to know what the status is there about governance and if we have any other updates related to it.
Yep. Like the NFT platform and for Dshop, there's a lot of engineering work underway for OUSD. We're very, very excited about figuring out how to build the fiat on-ramps into OUSD. One of our theses is that OUSD is a very well targeted product for people that we would call crypto normals, as well as people that aren't yet into crypto. If you think about OUSD, it's really like a really superior high yield savings account, right? It's a very low effort way to earn DeFi yields. And it's very different than what DeFi experts or degens, as they're commonly called, are going to be using. But the universe of users that can benefit from DeFi is much, much greater globally than the current addressable market of people that are using yield farms and doing very complicated operations, staking LP tokens, gaining rewards, having these very complicated funnels. OUSD is DeFi made easy, and you can earn DeFi yields without having to do much work at all, right? All you have to do is purchase OUSD or mint OUSD, and we're starting to mint OUSD OTC for some larger clients. And the idea is you just hold OUSD in your wallet and it rebases and it's earning a yield. And so we think it's a very, very powerful concept. We're actively talking to a couple fiat on-ramp partners, as I was saying. Everyone should know at this point that OGN is the governance token for OUSD, as well as the value accrual token for OUSD. And so the plan in the near future is to figure out these fiat on-ramps, figure out a couple marquee exchange listings, and get OUSD in the hands of much more crypto mainstream users. And through that, we expect OUSD's TVL to rise dramatically. And as it rises, then there's also more fees that would then accrue to OGN holders. And then on the governance side, there's a number of, similar to what we're planning on doing on the Dshop side, we want to release snapshot voting and allow the governance holders to dictate things like specific strategies, et cetera, and other parameters like that. So anyways, that's all forthcoming. But yeah, we're super, I guess, in the weeds, just building right now. Even though the market has been a little bit volatile and it's hasn't been the strongest market for a couple of months, that's not really a huge concern for us. We obviously want all of you OGN holders to do very well. And the best way to do that is to continue to advance our products as fast as possible. And be ready to really take the mainstream by storm with our products that we think are quite easy to use compared to many other crypto products.
Awesome, thank you for that. I'll leave it there in terms of our updates and things like that. We can get into the community questions. The first one actually has a few different parts to it. There's actually 5 questions in it, but it was the top voted one. So it's from Sheeta Code. I'll just go through and ask the first 2. We kind of touched on it already when talking about the NFT Launchpad, but his first question is, when will the NFT kind of Launchpad, or the self-serve thing, become available to the public? And then he also wants to know about the NFT, basically the buybacks that we've been doing as a result of the NFT drops that we've been hosting, and wants to know when the next one will happen.
Hey, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, sorry. Did you catch what I wrote? So what I said, sorry.
I was saying it seems like my connection broke for a second and I couldn't actually hear everything that you said.
Oh, okay.
So if you could repeat the question.
Yes, my apologies. So the first question comes from Sheeta Code, and it's actually 5 questions, but it was the top rated one. So I'll just go through the questions within his question. The first one
Yep.
is he wants to know when the NFT Launchpad will launch. And I know that we touched on this already at the beginning, but it doesn't hurt to reiterate it. He wants to know specifically the kind of self-serve one where it will be open to the public to create their own NFT drops with Origin. And then the second part is about NFT Launchpad buybacks of OGN, and if we plan to do any more in the future and when that might be.
Sure. Yeah. So, like I said, the Launchpad is being actively worked on by multiple engineers on a daily basis. We're doing testing of features. It's already in the hands of a number of our creator partners that plan to do NFT drops soon. We're going to have to iterate a little bit because we definitely want to add a little bit of polish and make sure that we cover all our bases. But the way the rollout is going to happen is it's not going to be a single day where we just say, hey, we turn it on for everyone. It's going to be, I would say, like in orders of magnitude, right? So right now we have, about 10 partners testing out the Launchpad features. As they start launching their drops, we'll likely onboard the next 100 or so. And once that's done, we'll decide if we're ready to open up to everyone or if we'll try to open up to a couple hundred. And it'll still be kind of like waitlist invite only, but it will start serving much more of the long tail. And so I think that's like a decision that we're going to have to make in the upcoming weeks as we see the feedback that we're getting from the partners, right? So I can't give you a specific date, but it's being very actively worked on, and it's definitely one of our main objectives to open up the platform and allow everyone to participate, both from an idealistic perspective and also just from a business perspective, right? So that's the first piece. The second piece around OGN buybacks, likely, yes, we will continue to do OGN buybacks with revenue earned from the NFT platform. We don't have a specific one planned just at this moment, but similar to the way we were thinking about buybacks previously, we are generating revenue from these NFT sales. If we think that the market is currently undervaluing OGN, and I think it is at this point, largely because of the macro sentiment, then there's always the possibility to do a buyback, and we're kind of evaluating on a week-by-week basis. Nothing specific to say about like when we would do the next one, but it's certainly something that we think we'll do again.
Cool. And speaking of buybacks, one of the questions also from the same person was around OUSD buybacks, specifically when we're going to announce the next one. And I think that comes from a little bit of confusion around how OUSD buybacks work. So if you could touch on that would be good.
Yeah, so that actually is already built in the smart contracts and will happen on an automated basis. So yeah, it's not like we wouldn't need to do like the similar type of announcement like we did for the NFT side. That's actually something that is kind of already baked into the protocol.
Yeah. So basically OUSD buys back OGN automatically using a part of its yield. But cool. And then two other questions he had were around OGN. The first is around whether we would consider OGN payments in NFT drops. And then the second one is just about whether we're exploring adding more pairs to OGN on exchanges like Binance, adding it as a payment option in Travala, basically adding different utilities to Origin beyond governance.
Yeah, the answer to both is yes. Let's talk about NFTs first. So one of the reasons that we want to get Launchpad out very quickly is that because with many more creators using a scalable tech platform as opposed to doing custom NFT drops, it gives us a lot more customers, it gives us a lot more data, it allows us to test different models, and we have internally several new OGN mechanics that we would like to bake into the NFT Launchpad platform. One of them is allowing for NFT drops that take OGN. That's probably one of the most basic features, but there's actually a couple more interesting and complex mechanics that we're exploring right now that involve OGN staking, for example. None of this is launched yet, and so we don't want to necessarily get ahead of ourselves, but it's very top of mind for me and the team as to how we add additional strong OGN token utilities to our NFT platform. So it is, entirely possible and probably likely that you'll see some OGN features start popping up into our NFT drops. And then secondly, we are always interested in being much more accessible all over the world. So that's exchanges like you cited, and getting more exchange pairs. We're particularly interested in getting more fiat pairs added because we think there's a large universe of people that haven't gotten into crypto yet, despite the multiple bull cycles that we've seen. And there's a large pie that we want to open up as citizens from all over the world start on-ramping to crypto with their native fiat currencies. And it's going to be the most natural way to start, right? And so exchanges are still a priority for us, but more so than even exchanges, I would say, are how do we start getting integrated into more traditional fintech products, right? Like it would be it is very much a goal of ours to eventually, right, have OGN be featured in other mainstream finance apps, such as like banking apps or peer-to-peer payments apps. The first great example of that is when Revolut, the European payment and banking app, added OGN, and that opens OGN up to a large market in Europe. But there are similar type companies in the United States that have huge, massive user bases that we're now targeting. You can probably guess who they are without me explicitly mentioning who we're trying to broker these relationships with. And then a number of these other fintech giants worldwide also. So I think that's the next layer where beyond cryptocurrency exchanges that are focused on the buying and selling of tokens in a traditional, very liquid market, we're also talking about mainstream, like really mainstream financial apps that are including our token. And that I think is an even bigger prize than some of the exchange listings that we've undergone in the past year and a half.
Cool. And our next question was from Alex Q Proof, but actually we kind of already answered that when you were talking about adding utility to OGN. His question was very much in the same vein. So we'll go to the next question after that, which is from Hasagigo, who I'm sure you're familiar with. He's made a lot of memes about you specifically.
Yeah, good to see you here. I see you here.
He said that he's actually more interested in OUSD with Origin, and he'd like to know if there are any updates around the Origin or peer-to-peer app, as well as the OUSD debit card.
Yeah, so with the peer-to-peer app, one of the biggest things that we've been working on is figuring out how to get that fiat on-ramp, as well as some of the business and regulatory issues around moving money in this way, right? So in the United States and in some of the other international countries that we're focused in, there are a lot of pretty painful regulatory hurdles that need to be overcome. So certain licenses that need to be acquired, BD is involved, like talking to a lot of lawyers. And so a lot of the work has been centered around that. And again, figuring out how to get fiat on-ramps for this OUSD app. And so we don't have an exact timeline on when the app will launch yet, but all this is being worked on. Again, we're having a lot of conversations and we're speccing out exactly how this will work. So I guess the main thing I would say is it's being worked on. It's an active area of engineering for us, but we don't have a specific launch date just yet. But we think once we actually launch this application, it should be a game changer, right? So we see peer-to-peer apps, payment apps today, they've grown pretty virally just because by nature, by using the app, when you're sending the app to someone else, you're inviting them to use the app. And there's no better way to get someone to use an app than saying, hey, there's free money for you to pick up. That's why you should sign up. And so that's where peer-to-peer payment apps are really, really powerful. Now imagine a case where you go ahead and, let's say I sent you money, Hasagio, and I sent you $100 US. When you go pick it up the next day, it's $101, and by the end of the year, it's $125, whatever the prevailing interest rates are. That's an even more powerful incentive for you to use the app, and also for you to share the app, and for you to invite new friends by sending payments to them. And so I think the greater vision for this is really, really powerful.
Awesome. Switching back to NFTs then, our next question is from Godslave, I think is Daniel Simon. He wants to know if we have any plans to create a gallery function, a place where he can display his NFTs. And he says that he thinks the function is essential in creating a strong secondary market. And I would very much like to show off his NFTs on the Origin platform.
Yeah, absolutely. That's in the works as well. And that is, when I mentioned earlier in the conversation that we were working on an aggregator site, I probably could have given a little bit more detail. So this aggregator site will be Origin branded. It will feature our upcoming drops, as well as featured artists and featured NFTs. It'll also have collector profiles to allow you as a collector to showcase all your Origin NFTs. And it will also be the place where creators go to use the NFT Launchpad. And so there's going to be a whole host of features around this new site.
Cool. And then the next question, I actually might be able to answer a little bit myself as well. They wanted to know what we're doing to educate new users who join Origin, educating them on how they interact with blockchain-powered e-commerce and how they use our various NFT products and OUSD. So from my side, I can just add that we recently did an education campaign with Unpeeled. They made a very good infographic research paper on Origin. And so we've been doing various initiatives like that, not only in the English community, but also, in Korea, we recently did an AMA, and we're doing quite a lot to reach out to people and tell them about what we're working on, as well as, preparing things to educate people more about NFTs and how to use our products. But Matt, did you have anything you could add to that?
So I would say that one of the best ways to educate users is to make the products really, really easy to use in and of themselves. And that's something that we've really been focused on, right? Now we haven't done a perfect job with that, but the reasons that we think OUSD and our NFT Launchpad can be very, very compelling products that scale, 100x, 1000x, 10,000x from here, is that focus on making those experiences easier, right? And so again, the idea is when these new users try OUSD for the very first time, it should feel a little bit like magic. It's just like, wow, I can get really high savings without having to do much work. It beats my traditional bank account, and it should be painfully obvious that that's happening, right? So we're not exactly there yet, because right now it still requires users to mint OUSD, and there's gas fees, and you have to deal with MetaMask or another Web3 wallet. And so there's still that pain. But as we start improving that process, as we start adding the on-ramps, as we start getting listed on more large exchanges, and making it easier for people to on-ramp just with US dollars or other fiat currencies, then I think the education just happens organically because the product speaks for itself. Similarly, on the NFT side, we definitely are doing our best to cater to early NFT adopters, but also have an eye on how do we start bringing NFTs to the mainstream and let these new iterations of NFTs educate consumers and speak for themselves. And so that's where things like having NFTs that are cheaper in price and easily accessible to a lot more people potentially come into play, right? And so we're working with these creators right now because of Ethereum layer 1 minting fees. There's almost like a minimum price that needs to be charged for NFTs in order for creators to make money. But with layer 2 and alternate chain improvements, then these NFTs become much cheaper in price and allows mainstream fans to participate. It also changes the conversation from just NFTs as art to NFTs as utility, right? So the NFTs might be access tokens that give mainstream fans the ability to see an artist backstage, or they may be access tokens that let these mainstream fans view premium video content or unreleased music, or join private Discord and Telegram communities just by having these NFTs, right? Or these NFTs can be redeemed for physical goods. And so these are all use cases that we're working on and think are the future of NFTs, where the people using the NFTs don't need to make the cognitive leap and think, oh, I'm using a non-fungible token. This is ERC 721 on the Ethereum blockchain. They should say, hey, I'm buying this thing. It's just a digital collectible or digital ticket or digital access pass to something else I want, whether that's, again, unreleased content or physical merchandise or in real life experiences to meet creators or interact with brands or athletes. The possibilities really are quite endless. But again, I think that's one of the main tenets at Origin, which is how do we simplify this very complex blockchain technology, make it easier and easier to use progressively. We're definitely not there yet today. It's going to take a lot more work, but get there hopefully sooner than later. And then we can bring blockchain technology in the form of NFTs and DeFi to many more people that are currently not using these technologies today. I think that's a real opportunity.
Cool. And following on from that, our next question is a little bit related to it. They wanted to know what our short and long-term technical milestones are. So you talked, for example, about adding layer 2, things like that. Yeah, could you just speak a bit on the technical milestones and what those look
Sure.
like?
Yeah, so I think for NFTs, layer 2 is a big technical milestone. Alternate chains potentially come out of that as well, because it's, we're not necessarily Ethereum maximalists. There's, other opportunities. And that also means there's potentially other partnership opportunities with these other chains, right? For co-marketing, for sharing of IP, for all different sorts of things. And so we're very cognizant of the fact that crypto is a game where it's better to be collaborative and work with people as opposed to just kind of do your own thing. So that is a focus area on the NFTs. I think the main technical milestones on the OUSD side are one, figuring out how to get even like higher yields today than we are today. Two, figuring out the fiat on-ramps, and then three, moving to a fully decentralized governance model that allows for our community to truly take over and also increases the utility of OGN.
Cool. And our next question, the person wants to know what happens with an NFT if the IPFS provider goes offline, and how can we ensure the persistence of our NFTs?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the general concept around IPFS is that the content, um, these are like content addressable hashes. And so a single IPFS node is not going to be that single point of failure. And so if the NFT content is hosted across IPFS or Arweave, then it should be accessible in perpetuity as long as the network remains up. And so you're betting a little bit on those decentralized file storage systems remaining up and not going out of and not having the entire community fall over. And two, for IPFS, the content needs to be viewed at some sort of frequency, right? So these are probably not the most difficult technical challenges. There's a lot of precedents for this already. But yeah, that's how things are done on IPFS.
Cool. And our next question is around buying and selling NFTs specifically on Dshop. Perhaps this would be a good chance to clarify maybe the difference between the NFT marketplace that we're building and then the general Dshop and what, if any, overlap there would be between the two.
Yeah, so we first started out having NFTs being sold on Dshop. So Brave Software actually did it. And what we realized was the NFT opportunity was compelling enough and big enough that it really deserved its own software stack and its own product iterations. And so we built our first NFT drops as these custom drop sites that have now morphed into the foundation of the NFT Launchpad. But we do believe that NFTs are a category that are large enough on their very own to deserve a completely separate product. And so we're continuing to push forward with our NFT Launchpad as a separate product from Dshop and really focusing NFT efforts there versus on Dshop, which is meant for more generalized traditional commerce.
And one question we actually got as well around the Launchpad, especially when the general public is able to do their own drops on Origin, is around identity and how people can verify that a drop is by the person who they say they are. We have Origin ID, obviously, which is the single login people use for all of our drops. But could you maybe touch on what our plans are around just identity in general for the Origin Launchpad? And yeah, if you have anything else to add about Origin ID.
That's a great question. So again, to date, right, because right now it's still in invite only mode, it's very easy to verify from our side who those creators are because we're actually speaking to a Kashmir or we're speaking to a George Lopez, and so like we know that they are the actual people, and then we can associate Ethereum wallet address, their Ethereum wallet address, as the minting wallet. And so that's a very easy problem to solve in the short term. In the longer term, when this thing goes to more and more creators, it will become a little bit more of a challenge. Again, while it's still in invite-only mode, even if it's hundreds of creators, it shouldn't be an issue. Once it's truly self-serve, and we're talking about tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of creators, then it will become a more tricky issue. And so we have some early thoughts on how we can verify accounts, just like companies like Twitter or Facebook or Instagram verify creators. But that all needs to be implemented, and it will probably require some more traditional means of verification. But these are also solved problems, so we anticipate them to be things that we need to work on, but certainly not overwhelming obstacles.
Cool. That was really our last sort of main serious question. The only one that's left is we had a few people asking us if we have a partnership with a company called HPIL Holding. It seems they've been putting out a lot of press releases saying that they're partnered with us. Um, yeah, so if you can confirm or deny that, would be good.
Um, HPIL Holdings.
Yeah, it's
Um,
I've never heard of them, but it seems like
yeah.
we regularly get press releases coming out from them saying that there's a new partnership with Origin. Um, yeah, it came up in the questions.
So I believe I know who they are. I need to double check, but we have, I believe, talked to someone at this company, but I don't believe we actually signed a deal with them. There's been a lot of people in the deal pipeline for us, countless creators as well as entities representing creators and agencies representing creators. So sometimes it's not always immediately clear what the official entity names are. Um, I believe we have spoken to them, but we definitely have not, signed an official partnership or anything with them at the moment.
Cool. Thanks for clearing that up. Uh, that concludes it really in terms of the questions we got from Reddit. Um, did you have any closing remarks you wanted to make, Matt? Or...
I guess I was wondering if we wanted to let anyone else, ask any questions live. Happy for you or myself or anyone else on our team to maybe answer a couple questions if there's anyone else that wants to speak.
Yeah, let me bring up some of the team members, and then yeah, if people want to ask any questions in real time, please request it so that I can add you. Just one moment.
Hey, look, it's Chad from YouTube. What's up, Chad?
Okay, so I just changed it to letting everyone speak. If you guys want to give it a try.
Any questions from the crowd as we're wrapping up the AMA?
So
Yeah, I had a
yeah,
question.
oh yeah, go ahead.
So I was wondering, is there any plans to create some type of artist gallery basically to show off NFT artists that are looking for work on Origin? Could that become a product in the future?
So you're saying rather than just like a creator gallery of NFT um, creators that are dropping, are you saying like, hey, I'm an artist that wants to work with a creator and I want to partner up, that type of
Yeah,
thing?
so like a space just for artists that are like a Fiverr, I guess, something like that, but obviously more expensive for artists that are creating. So that people that want to drop an NFT can go there and look out for them, I guess.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. We don't have any current plans to do that. There are a number of creators that we've worked with that have asked for recommendations from existing NFT artists that could help them bring their concepts to life. Ari on our team, who is also in this Twitter Spaces AMA, in particular, has been extremely active in networking with artists and collectors. He's a world-class product designer himself. And so in some cases, he's been helping broker these connections with these from these creators and brands to people that are already deeply embedded in the NFT space. There's one particular collaboration that I can't reveal publicly yet that I'm very excited about, and I think the community will be very excited about when it finally launches. But there is some work going on behind the scenes right now for connecting the artists that are doing work with some of these creators and brands that want to come into the NFT space with a strong first showing. So we'll see if that turns into anything else, but right now it's more of a manual process than feature on the product roadmap.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for that. Does anyone else have a question they'd like to ask Matt?
I do. I'm curious about what are the criteria that you guys look for when deciding to work with artists to release NFTs on your guys' platform?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. So I think what we've learned in the last couple months are that not all NFT artists are created equal, and not all NFT concepts are created equal. Again, the end goal is to not be the gatekeepers and let the entire universe of NFT creators to use our platform in a very open way, just like anyone can upload a video to YouTube, and then the best videos get tons of video views, and others do not, right? And so that's where we want to end up. To get there, there are a number of hurdles around ensuring the platform is robust and ready to scale, as well as that the early people are being successful, right? So there are some criteria that we have today. What we care about the most is that we're working with people that aren't just treating this as a cash grab. They're not people that are just one and done, because ultimately we realize that in order for us to succeed as a company, in order for these creators to succeed as a company, a lot of it is about investing into the community. A lot of it is about taking a longer term perspective. And this stuff takes time, right? The successful NFT creators we've seen both on our platform and off of our platform, they're not doing a single drop, right? They are here for months, or even some people have been around for a year and a half or longer, right? And so it's about continued engagement. It's about having a presence, and then it's also just being willing to adapt and evolve as this crazy market is developing alongside us. So yeah, I think we look for partners that are easy to work with, that care about the long term. Ideally, have done an NFT drop in the past, but if not, that they're taking a very healthy long-term view and thinking about how to do something innovative and also give back to the community.
Awesome, thank you. And is there, do you guys look for specific following or a size of following or engagement or?
It's sort of, right. It's a little bit more of an art than science, though. So it's not to say that you have to have X size following on Instagram or Twitter to be someone that we want to work with. We're also excited about up and comers that are starting to establish a bit of a following just through the art that they're putting on other platforms, right? NFTs are open, and so that's really cool. They're open standards, and so if people are already selling NFTs on OpenSea or Foundation or wherever it might be, we invite them to do NFT sales on Origin, and we also invite them to continue doing NFT sales on other platforms. Ultimately, these things are meant to be decentralized and an open protocol. And so, yes, we want to get as much market share as we can, from the available creators, but an even bigger prize for all of us, all the different NFT platforms, is how do we grow the pie, right? How do we make it so that NFTs are successful and they're starting to get away from just these early adopters, many of which have been in crypto for multiple years, many of which are great customers, but not the same archetypes as the masses of people that will be using NFT technologies 5 years from now, right? And so I think a big part of it is thinking through that longer term story arc, and how do we continue to innovate, how do we grow the overall market with this new open standard that is also kind of, like I mentioned before, a bit of a blank canvas, right? The most innovative use cases and the most disruptive businesses are going to emerge in the next couple of years. I don't think we've gotten anywhere close to the apex of what NFT technology is supposed to do in the market, and it's only going to be much more exciting as things unfold. So that was a very long-winded way of saying that we want to work with people with the right intentions, that we think have longevity, that are willing to try innovative things, experiment fast, be innovative, and be good partners for us as we continue to explore the space ourselves, with the eyes on building massive business that hopefully disrupts many different use cases in the next couple of years.
Wonderful. Thank you, man. That was very thorough. Do you mind if I send you a DM after this?
Yeah, please do.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Of course.
All right, thanks for that. We've gotten a few requests, so who wants to go next?
Hello, Matthew.
Hey, what's up?
Hi, I have a quick question circling back to HPIL. So it probably might have been a little confusing regarding the partnership and the names and all that. So that company is currently undergoing a ticker change to Cybernetic Technologies, and at the spearhead of that is Stephen Brown. He's the CEO of it. And so they acquired NFT Procurement Limited, which HPIL, which is the ticker, controls all of it, and it said that they signed a partnership agreement with Origin back in May, and I was wondering if you could just touch on that a little more, please.
Yeah, so we have so Stephen Brown, yeah, we have talked to him on a couple of occasions. We haven't actually done an NFT drop just yet. Like, that's still being ironed out. But yeah, the name is familiar if he's mapped to HPIL. But yeah, HPIL is, I guess, one of those examples I mentioned earlier, where a lot of people have different entities or agency names or holding companies or other representation. And so it is a little bit confusing.
Yeah, I totally understand. Thank you so much, Matthew.
Thanks for that. Next question, please. Septi, did you have a question? All right, I removed him. Lucas, did you have a question or anyone else?
I do have a question. I wanted to know if is there a date already for the launch of the Origin Protocol app, like for it to work, basically.
Sorry, what do you mean by the Origin Protocol app?
So I've seen there's an app already, and as I've seen in the website, what it does is the peer-to-peer marketplace, right? And I wanted to know if when will it be available to actually trade services peer-to-peer in the app.
I see. That's a great question. Seems like some of our marketing material needs to be updated. But yeah, like one of the first products we launched as a project was the original Origin Marketplace, which was all around allowing people to buy or sell anything on Origin. And so we launched that at shoporigin.com and also have a mobile app. Since then we've found that there's more growth on Dshop and OUSD and NFT Launchpad, and so those are much larger areas of focus for us at the moment.
All right, and also, if so, more or less, are you guys going to still go for that later on, or are you just gonna focus on what you're focusing on right now?
So I think this is one of those interesting cases where the overall high-level vision of where we want to be in 10 years, I wouldn't say has changed all that much, right? We want to, enable all different forms of commerce on the blockchain, disrupt multiple different industries. However, the initial approach that we took, and I think the eventual path that it takes for us to get there, that's still being written over time, right? And so something that you'll often see with disruptive technology and startups, it will basically like there's a little bit of zigging and zagging along the way to the final vision. And I think that's kind of where we're at right now, right? Where we see large immediate opportunities in NFTs and DeFi that can really propel us forward into that eventual, super, super large vision of disrupting all types of commerce on the blockchain. But you have to attack the market from a little bit of an angle. You have to, figure out where to get that initial traction that we've been able to get with some of our products, and then build more and more over time and really open up the opportunities ahead of you. If you try to solve everything for everyone and be a little bit too generalized in the beginning, oftentimes you'll find that it's very hard to get traction and you'll end up failing in the long term. And so that's where I think you'll see that the product decisions we've made are reflective on let's capture value, let's capture like parts of the market, demonstrate real use cases, capture value in the sense of building stuff that's useful, that people are using, that can generate revenue and protocol fees, that can build the Origin brand, that can be additive to OGN as the token on our path to, the huge outcome in like 10 years.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for that question. How many more questions do you want to take, Matt, before we wrap it up?
Maybe just like one more or so would be great.
Okay. Yeah, who wants to ask the last question?
I had a question if everybody else doesn't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
So how is the Omisco network going to help NFT growth? Is it mostly through the Origin platform or something with Kasar?
That's not actually a question that I feel qualified to answer. Looks like we have someone from the OMG team here. So maybe you can send them a DM and ask them about that.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
Sorry about that. One more question, if anyone has one. One that we can give a good answer to, and then we'll wrap it up. Anyone? All right. Well, if we don't have any more questions, we might as well leave it there, I'd say. It's already gone on for a while, so it's been pretty good. Yeah, so just quickly, if you guys aren't aware,
Okay. So I have a
sorry.
question about using NFTs in real estate. Have you thought about using NFTs in the form of ownership for a business? Say if I had a bar in Manhattan and I wanted to enlist 10 NFTs for ownership in my business, have you considered NFTs in that form of use?
So we ourselves haven't done anything in real estate yet, but I think the NFT idea space certainly allows for NFTs to be used in that industry. Yeah, I mean, like NFTs, as you know, they're like non-fungible tokens, right? But they can be representative of a lot of things, whether they're offline assets or other online assets, or they just stand on their own. And so I do imagine a future where NFTs can be quite disruptive in real estate. That's not a vertical that we're necessarily pursuing right now, but I'm sure someone's going to unlock a lot of value there in the future.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks for that question. Yeah, so as I was saying, I think we'll leave it there. The AMA has gone on for a while, and I think we've managed to answer quite a few questions. So thank you, Matt, for taking the time to answer all of our questions. Yeah, just to wrap things up, if you guys aren't aware, you can follow our blog on Medium. It's blog.originprotocol.com, and we share our monthly token holder updates there. We're exploring at making some of the AMAs more regular and to be based around those updates, as well as to play around with Twitter Spaces and other formats to engage with the community more. There's also our Telegram and obviously subreddit. Yeah, Matt, do you have any closing remarks?
No, mostly just to say thanks everyone for attending this very first one for us. It's kind of a learning experience, new format for us. If you have any feedback about it, like definitely hit us up on Twitter or in our Discord. Let us know what you think of the format. If everyone likes it, maybe we'll do these much more often. And also, thanks for bearing with us in the beginning when we had those technical difficulties. Hopefully everyone felt that this session was informative. I personally always, really love engaging with the community. The community is the backbone of everything we do. So appreciate you guys taking time out to listen to what we have to say. And excited about any other questions or comments you guys might have. We're available on Twitter, Telegram, Discord, all that. And Max has done a fantastic job bringing everyone together and creating the right structure for us to engage with everyone. So doors always open for us. Thank you so much for being part of the community.
Thanks, guys. And we'll put up either a transcript or a recording of this AMA as well. So stay tuned for that. And just to correct, sorry, what I said before, it's chachalucha.com if you want to check out the George Lopez drop. So I'll end the room now. But thank you guys for attending. Okay, bye.